So the Cape Flats Nature Project was a partnership, and that partnership ran for an 8-year period from 2002 to 2010. And in answer to the question of how do we manage priority urban biodiversity sites in a sustainable way, and how do we engage? So there was a recognition that we couldn't do this without engaging and delivering important municipal services to the low-income communities surrounding the sites. But there was very little experience of how to do this, and particularly in an urban context where the social system is incredibly complex. The Cape Flats Nature Partnership explored those issues. In the first phase, it was about demonstrating that it was even possible, because there were large questions about that in the conservation sector and then amongst decision makers in the city of Cape Town. So the first phase was about demonstrating that, and the second phase was about, in the first phase we'd thankfully learned that it was possible. So the second phase was about how do we institutionalize this in the city of Cape Town, so that it's mainstreamed in the day-to-day functioning, both of the biodiversity management branch of the city, but also across a range of departments in the city. And in the course of those 8 years, one of the methods that we started using to draw the lessons and to share them amongst conservators in the branch to enable this institutionalization process was a peer case study learning method. That relates back to the book, because the book drew a lot on the case studies that had been written over a 5-year period in the project. And the discussions that those case studies had enabled in the project team, those were used a lot in the writing of the book, together with creative workshops, using the mapping techniques that we then included in this workshop. A workshop like that was also used in the writing of the book. So there's a strong relationship between the methods and processes that we developed through the partnership and what went into the book, and then how we are using those in the training relating to the use of the book. Yeah, those toilet rolls were the stakeholders. They were stakeholders from nature conservation sites in the city of Cape Town and beyond, where nature conservation sites where tech students are doing their workplace internships. Yeah, they're stakeholders, and they were located in the landscape. So you would have seen that there were maps that the students had also created of their sites. Okay, and we asked them to bring objects that symbolize the value of their site, getting them to connect with what they value and to bring that, but also through the process of the workshop, getting to connect with what is of value to others. We asked them what features make the site valuable or important, for example, an education center, a pathway, an area of high biodiversity value. And we asked them what are some of the problem areas, for example, alien plants, areas where dumping occurs, seepage from neighboring industry, those kinds of issues. And then we asked them to take a moment and to think about what's happening around the site as it relates to the site. So we asked them to leave some space. What are the nearby community facilities, schools, clinics, parks, churches, community halls, those kind of things. The types of housing. We asked them to look at economic activity, businesses, etc. So it's seeing the protected area or this precious natural sites, but within its context, so with its connections to the surrounding social system. So as I said, when at the beginning of the workshop, we worked from the personal. So really giving space for the conservators to connect with what is personally of value to them, to the social. So being able to see the value of the natural sites that they're involved in managing through the eyes of their stakeholders, and to understand that what those stakeholders value may not be the same as what they value, and that something different will be required of them in connecting with other people's values. How do you find a connection point between your needs and your values and those of the kids? And it's not always about dishing out the information that you've got inside of you that you learned at tech. On the first day, after they'd created these maps, we asked them to create their stakeholders, to embody their stakeholders in these puppets as a way of enabling them to connect with the other.
Are we going to keep it as gangsters or are we going to just act with ourselves? Who is the gangster?
So he's chilling here.
The gangster.
And it was fascinating who they saw as stakeholders and also who wasn't seen as a